And the BBC consistently, and I think this is certainly reported us by our friends in Syria, but also by people back here in Britain, promotes very, very one-sided view of that war. It blames Assad for everything. It hardly ever highlights the horrors perpetrated by the jihadists, ISIS, Jabhat al-Nusra, etc. And I remember talking to a Muslim lady in Latakia who'd had to flee, and she said, I saw my husband and my son beheaded in front of me. Another of my relatives saw her husband's son beheaded in front of her. People die from shellings on both sides, but one side you die from shellings and beheadings. The other you die from beheadings. We don't want the beheadings. And I wept with that Muslim lady. But so often the BBC just shows the alleged carpet bombing of the government of Syria army on the other side, as it were, and doesn't show the comparable side, the horrors perpetrated by the jihadists. And that is very, I think, dangerous misrepresentation. And just one other quick example from that, when the ISIS took Palmyra, famous historic site, and they destroyed it. It was rescued by the Syrian army helped by Russia. And the Syrian, I met the director and the conductor of the the Syrian Symphony Orchestra, and they held a concert on the stage where 39 Syrian army soldiers had been slaughtered by ISIS, brutally slaughtered. And they held the concert on that stage, both in memory of the Syrian soldiers who'd had such a terrible death, but also as a symbolic representation. You may destroy us, but you'll never destroy our culture. And apparently that was a very beautiful concert and very moving. How did the BBC portray it? Pro-Assad propaganda and obscene to have a concert on a place where people are being killed. So there's a constant interpretation of events in a way that is consistently one-sided, and I think that's very dangerous. And what I find is I have the opportunity to talk in schools or universities or other places, churches, and when I tell them our experiences of Syria, they say, thank goodness you've told us. We knew there was more that was happening there, but we never got the evidence. Thank you for giving us more information. And the other one, very briefly, is Nigeria. In recent years, the Fulani have extended the violence carried out by Boko Haram. Boko Haram did get some media coverage, but the Fulani, according to reputable sources in Nigeria, Christian Association of Nigeria, 6,000 Christians at least were killed by Fulani last year in Nigeria. The killings are going on. I've been there while the killings are going on. Hundreds of churches and villages have been burnt. What does the British government call it? Just tit for tat between Christian farmers and Fulani herdsmen. Well, 6,000 killed is not tit for tat, but you get virtually no coverage on the BBC at all about what's happening in Nigeria. And I actually asked a good friend of mine who works in the BBC, and he said the BBC won't cover it. So that again is very dangerous because the suffering there is real, the agenda is dangerous, and British people don't get to hear about it.